on the Todd Shapiro Show, SiriusXM 168.
We have the director and writer. How are you, Edgar?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm fantastic, man. You have you been doing the junket all day? Is that what's been going on? Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry about the headphones.
He's got great hair, which is also instantly annoying. Like, that's amazing hair.
Thank you.
Nice thing, if you don't mind, nice and close to the mic there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
no
cool.
worries.
I'm here.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Have you been touring around all day?
I've been out since 6:55 a.m. this morning.
How is, obviously you want to get the word out about this great movie, which, by the way, I don't think you'll need any promotion. This will be one of those movies that people speak for it and give it great word of mouth by itself.
Cool.
So
Thank you.
You're almost wasting your time. Okay. But do you like that part of the job?
I mean, listen, I'm fortunate enough that I doing films that I'm really proud of. I'm really proud of this one, so I'll do anything that needs to be done to kind of get the word out, I mean, it's more difficult, I think, sometimes for actors or people if you do not like a movie and you have to go on a press junket.
But why is it that when you see actors or writers or directors go out and promote a film, they literally never hear a director go, it wasn't that good.
Because you'd never get hired ever again.
So how do we know? What's the demarcation that this is sincerely something?
I think usually you wait a year and then maybe a director or an actor go, it wasn't what it could have been.
Right.
So I think I understand that. It's the thing about the promotion of it is that actors and directors who have to promote movies that they're not proud of, it's part of the contract that you got to publicize the movie. And sometimes I think there was a director that actually at his press conference for the movie said that he hated his own movie. And that guy has not been doing many other movies.
No, I can see that when a company invests such a great amount of money to get something made,
yes,
they're kind of expecting you to do the best you can to help people go and see it, whatever the results are.
But here's the twist. I'm very proud of this movie.
I don't mean this. You mean this movie, Baby Driver?
Yes.
And you have every reason to be. What an amazing cast. Jamie Foxx is in it. John Hamm's in it. And tell me about Baby, this young actor, because this is sort of when you think of the big, these big, huge movies, these mass productions with obviously very talented director and writers. He's not necessarily an A type. This is the movie that's going to make him an A-lister actor. How did you go about the casting for him?
Well, I've been thinking about doing this movie for so long. It's existed in some form in my head for 22 years. And then I think 10 years ago is when I finally said to my producers, I want to do this movie that's it's literally my spin on it was I said it was a car movie driven by music. And the thing is that the young actors, who the hot young actor is changes every 18 months. So when I finally that 3 years ago when I was okay, Baby Driver is the next movie, it's who's out there? Literally the first thing, before we even were with a studio, is doing our own research of auditioning people. Because if you go into any studio and pitch this movie, they go, who's going to play that lead part? And so Ansel Elgort was one of those actors who came up frequently. And when I met him and even auditioned him, I very quickly, thought he was the guy. And he wasn't exactly how I imagined him when I wrote the character. I never imagined the character would be 6'4".
Is he 6'4"?
He really is.
Wow, I didn't realize
So he's actually the tallest guy in the movie. He's taller than John. He's taller than John is 6'2" and Ansel is 6'4". So, but I think it's one of the things about him is that the character is always in my head was supposed to be about 20 years old because he's the baby of the group. He's the baby face within the gang. He's pretty much under Kevin Spacey's crime boss. He's almost like an unpaid intern. So I like this thing.
He's my Pedro.
There you go.
Pedro Driver, the follow-up, the sequel.
That's very good for the Hispanic market.
Okay.
Exactly. Now we're thinking.
We're thinking it out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that it just worked great. Having somebody really that young. And I saw a bunch of actors, and sometimes you see actors who are in their late 20s who could play younger, but it's get a real 21-year-old in there. Having him up against Jamie and Kevin and John Bernthal and Flea, you have the same reaction as an audience that the characters do in the movie. is they see him sitting in the corner with his shades on and his headphones in, and you go, what's the deal with the kid? What's his story? Like, why is he there? Who's that kid? You know, so I thought it was just an interesting thing. I wanted to, one of the ideas for the movie was to do it through the eyes of the apprentice. You know, somebody who's like there on the periphery, and he's like, I think at the start of the movie, the character of Baby, like, is somebody that doesn't see himself as it doesn't identify himself as a criminal.
Well, I will say that, and
He's
Humble
wrong,
Howard's
of
Humble Howard co-hosting here today. But what the connection that I felt with this movie is that you kind of will have, I think, all generations really loving it, because you sort of have like the millennial younger perspective, which you're alluding to, but then you got this great crime boss in Kevin Spacey, and you obviously have great, you know, like just for Jamie Foxx, to me, like that must have blown your mind that he signed on. Like, he's such a big, talented dude,
yeah,
and and you get like sort of that old school, like it really, like if you're 20 or if you're 55, you're gonna love this movie.
Oh, hopefully, yeah. I mean, that's a.
Well, who doesn't love movies with babies and driving and crime? I'm sorry, is this, am I getting this all wrong?
Fast
is
cars.
there a baby? Is it an animated baby that drives and yet he steals? He's a conniving little baby. I'm sorry, I'm just all of a sudden I turned into Gilbert Gottfried. He's a baby, but he's driving Kevin Spacey. It's called Driving Miss Spacey.
Driving Miss Spacey. Driving Mr. Spacey. That's
I have a
good
question.
title.
What was that? I was going to say, is that the goal, to kind of get everyone interested in it, as opposed to like how some movies can just be directed to a certain type of demographic or audience?
I mean, not intentionally. I think it's that thing when I wrote it, is like I was trying to write like, you know, a heist movie with a new spin on it. But just because of that, I think actually like having people that are really significant kind of heavyweight actors brings so much to the movie, because like you don't really know what's going to happen next, who's as bad as they say they are, you know, like sort of when things are going to get serious. So it's also really works with people like John and Kevin and Jamie, who are charming even as they are sinister. Do you know what I mean? It's like sort of, so I really like that idea, is that like Jamie Foxx is like sort of pretty terrifying in the movie, but he's still kind of like funny doing it.
I was going to say, you know, the tradition that you have started, the movies that you've made, Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, there's a real sort of, you know, continuation of that British, you know, I was going to say crime, sort of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, or whatever it was, Snatch. And it sounds to me like this might be kind of in that genre, or...
Well, the thing is
because
that
I haven't seen it, because I was just invited here last minute. But I am curious about that. And I have a follow-up question about directing these type of people.
Well, I think the thing is that when I first came up with the idea, I knew that I couldn't make it in the UK, because I don't know if you know, but like it's very difficult to have a car chase in London. London is a city where the traffic grid is really designed to kind of stop all car chases.
Stopped at roundabouts. No, you go. No, you go.
That's like a European vacation, right?
Yeah.
Where, anyway.
Pretty much like sort of, there were a lot of like bank robberies in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, and then I think the way they just changed the traffic flow in London is a way of just stopping that ever happening. So if you ever see like robberies happen in like, it's also because London, there's no like freeway that's close to anything. Why you get bank robberies in like Atlanta or Los Angeles is you're right in the middle of town, get on a ramp, and you're on the freeway and you're off. You know, that's why, like, sort of, that's exactly... In London, there is no, like, freeway near any... There's no banks near freeways. You know, like, most of the time with, like, heists and stuff, it's the idea of, like, rob a bank near, a freeway ramp, get on, like, as they do in the movie, go down to the next ramp, switch cars, and disappear. But in London, you just can't do that. So actually, when you see, like, robberies in London, people are often using, like, motorbikes or scooters because they can actually smash the front of, a diamond store and speed off on a Vespa. You know, like, so I knew I was
Vespa chasing.
Exactly. Yes. They do exist. But yeah, so that's one of the reasons that I knew it was going to be an American movie, and I think it's sort of like, you know, like I'd say like with the Guy Ritchie thing, it's like probably like we probably both inspired by the same things, like in terms of like, you know, Walter Hill, Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino, the Coen brothers to some extent, you know?
I was going to ask you about Quentin Tarantino because when I watch this movie, and again, it is so great, people go and see it. I never know how to do these interviews because I want to make sure I don't give anything away either, but it had a little bit of a flavor to me too, and while he only wrote this and actually didn't direct it, to a kind of a true romance sort of
I love
feel.
that movie, yeah.
There's some of that, right?
I love that movie. That's a great movie. And also directed by the British director as well, like Tony Scott.
Yes.
Funny, I do have Quentin Tarantino, I do have to thank, is he knew that I was talking to Jamie, and he called Jamie and said, you should do Edgar's movie. So thank you, Quentin Tarantino.
Does he get a kickback for
that? It's funny when people listening to you talk about this movie, Baby Driver, Edgar Wright, you're a very well thought of director, but it's interesting you say Kevin instead of Kevin Spacey, John Hamm, Jamie Foxx. You know these people.
I do now.
Yeah, it's weird. Is it weird? Because it's obviously
such big stars.
Well, and it's odd for us because we're not on a first name basis. We're not even with each other. But it's interesting because you've worked with them and is it odd even because you were a fan? You're a fan of their
totally.
of their work. You're watching House of Cards season 5, not so good, but it's not. But I have a question about what is it like when you say, okay, guys, we're going to do the scene and action. Kevin Spacey does something that you're not 100% on. How do you walk up to Kevin Spacey and go, hey, yeah, Kev, just need you to kind of
It's not how I see it, bud.
Pull that back a little bit. And he looks at you and goes, Kevin Spacey, right?
I mean, it didn't really happen with this because, like, one of the things that was really cool about it is pretty much everybody's on the same page. I mean, one of the things when you see the movie I think if you saw that poster, I think some people might assume like, oh, these people are doing like cameos, and John and Kevin and Jamie are in the whole thing, and like as you've seen it, there's like scenes with them all together. And that was like almost like the most thrilling thing. And anytime there'd be like a shot where you'd have Jamie and Kevin in the same shot, I would whisper to my director of photography, double Oscar shot. Double Oscar winner shot.
That's got to be freaky.
No, it's crazy.
Amazing.
It's like sort of like 2 Oscar winners in one shot.
I mean, you've won awards. You're just a guy that loves movies. You must love actors. How strange is that?
Well, when I did Kevin's first scene, he has a scene like it's a valet, like standing at the valet, and he's like sort of quietly terrorizing Ansel Elgort, and it's just like softly spoken threats delivered at like rapid fire speed. And even though I'd met him and he'd rehearsed with us and he'd done like a table read of the whole script, when he was then actually in the costume and doing it, and he was delivering all this monologue for the first time, I sort of had an out-of-body experience where I was no longer like the writer-director of the movie. I was like watching it like an audience member, and I was watching him do this take, and I started thinking, oh, this is good. And then I went, wait, I wrote this. Yeah. Kevin Spacey's saying my lines. So I had a total out-of-body experience.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Great.
Yeah,
it's true,
congratulations to you, Edgar.
I went all formal then. I called him Kevin Spacey. And that was the first day of the shoot. Now at the end of the shoot, it's like, Kevin, this is what I think. Kev.
Does he have a nickname?
KS.
Sadly, I don't have a lot of time with you. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you really quick. Your team is asking, I'm sure you're doing a ton of other stuff, but about the soundtrack, because it's so integrated within the movie and Baby Driver. The one thing I can say is he sort of needs this music to get away. The music is such a big part of his life, and there's a reason for that as well. But how did you choose his wonderful eclectic playlist?
Well, I mean, it was something that it was sort of how the germ of the idea in the first place is that I would listen to music and have these ideas for scenes. So John Spencer Blues Explosion Bell Bottoms, which I see up on your YouTube channel right here. When I used to listen to that, when I was like 21, I would imagine this car chase. That's kind of how that whole thing started. So before I started writing the script, I had about 8 of the big songs worked out. It's this is the song and this is what's happening. And I think sometimes it's like when there's songs where you don't put a visual together with it. It's obviously when you think of Bohemian Rhapsody, 2 things come into your head. You think of the Queen video, and you think of Wayne's World.
I also think of the Muppets.
but Brighton Rock by Queen, which is a killer sort of track from Sheer Heart Attack. That doesn't, it's thinking I'd love to do something with that scene. It's make that song famous, or using the Hocus Pocus by Focus track. So I had all these big set pieces worked out. And then when I wrote the rest of the movie, I wouldn't write the scene until I had the song.
Love that.
So I basically then, by the time I'd finished writing the script, now I've got a list of 30 songs. And then the next tricky thing is like, okay, now we have to clear those songs.
Yes, well, I mean, the soundtrack will be out. Edgar Wright, you got to run. The movie Baby Driver opens up Canada and the U.S. wide June 28th. It's such an exciting time for you.
My first time having a movie open in the UK and North America at the same time.
Oh,
congratulations!
Exciting
One
for me.
thing.
Yeah,
I love The World's End.
Oh, thank you.
I love that movie.
That's it's truer than you
Scott
think.
Pilgrim. I like
Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Shaun of the Dead. I mean, it's remarkable.
But that movie in particular is very,
Thank you very much.
clever and
I
very,
appreciate
very sweet.
that.
And you're very talented, and you make me sick. So
And what about the hair?
The hair is amazing. You're super talented, and I really wish you nothing but.
And on top of it, you love Toronto.
I do love Toronto. I lived here for like a year making Scott Pilgrim, and I miss it. And actually being back here, it's funny, like things have changed, and then there's stuff like that I just go past. It's like, I know that pizza.
Listen, I'm going to be in London doing
They're a
stand-up
sponsor. Thank you for saying them.
On July 8th. Do you want to just hang out?
Okay.
I will actually not be there.
Oh,
I'll be in Australia promoting this movie.
Super drag
It's
for both
true.
of us.
It's
All
true.
right. Well,
have fun in London.
And have fun in your fantastically successful life.
Edgar, thank you so much for your time. I'm very grateful for it. Good luck with the movie. I'm sure you don't need it. Kevin Spacey, Lily James, John Hamm, Jamie Foxx, and just Ansel Elgort. Is that
Elgort?
Elgort. I apologize. Go and check out Baby Driver on the 28th, and thank you to Edgar Wright.
The Todd Shapiro Show.